Color, the podcast where we speak to people of color about issues that plague us on social media as well as in our communities. And when we say people of color, we mean everyone. I mean, all of us do have color. And today we're speaking to a musically colorful character. He's a radio DJ, a host, a DJ, karaoke star as well. He is none other than Reggie Philander. Reggie, please introduce yourself.
Hi. Wow, thanks. That was a wonderful, great introduction. It's giving me all the confidence to carry on with this podcast. My name is Reggie Philander from Eldorado Park, born and raised in Eldorado Park. I love music. I wear my colors on the inside, right? And wow, music is my life. There's not a day which goes past or goes by that I do not listen to music or think about music. And I'm 50, can you believe it? I just turned 50 in June, but yeah, you can just say 5 plus 0, 5 times 0. That makes me 5 years young at heart.
Yeah. 50 years old, 50 and a half. Well, I would pass you for like 46, Reggie. So
Hey,
looking good.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thanks for the 4 years.
But Reggie, we're here to talk about some serious issues that's happening in Eldorado Park, Westbury, Reggie Park, all the colored
Yes.
communities in Joburg specific, actually. In fact, you can include Kimberley, Bloemfontein, Cape Town, and of course Durban in this equation.
Yeah.
I saw that you were recently at the march in Westbury, if I'm not mistaken.
In Westbury.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
It was a couple of weeks ago when I have a lot of friends, and I used to work in Westbury on Coffee FM, which is a local radio station broadcasting from Westbury. So I was part of starting the radio station, involved with the training and all that. And hence I met a lot of community leaders, and also have family down there. So I got this call after another shooting incident, after so many has been, and the gentleman, one of the leaders, said to me that they would love it if I could just come around. They're going to be marching to the police station to let the police know how they feel, because kids are dying. Kids as young as 15, 16 are dying at the hands of this senseless killings and shootings. And I thought, as a member and I don't want any racial connotation to be added to this, as a member from the colored community, that's what I know. I thought, why not do it? And straight after my show on Radio 2000, I went and I joined the group. It was parents who was really crying out, parents who've lost some of their kids, and in their plea to find a solution for this, for they feel that authorities are not doing enough to make sure to ensure safety and security within the areas. Now, that is Westbury alone, and I'll let you know why I even joined in. And saying this, I'm not representing any anti-drug campaign or let's any organization, but I'm representing two boys, two kids, who I have two sons, and I have a granddaughter as well. And I'm representing them as well as other parents as well. There's a saying that, we have to go back to the old school. It doesn't mean that it hasn't happened to my son or my granddaughter yet, and I'm not affected, that I should not be joining in. And that's one of the reasons I was there. So yes, we did the march through Waterval, right next to Sophia Town Police Station, and also at the Sophia Town Police Station as well, with the parents with a whole lot of grievances on what they want to happen. I must say it was extremely emotional. And not a week later or 2 weeks later, another shooting incident happened in Eldorado Park, where I'm from, and this affected a family member. Well, he was shot at. It doesn't have anything to do with drugs. He's such a good boy, very focused, academic, at school, and he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time, just chilling in the afternoon normal when the shooting started, and he was luckily not harmed. Now, he could not have been around to tell the story, and that's how serious it is, where innocent kids are affected by this. Innocent members, I mean, I could be, we all are affected. You could be walking innocently to go about your day, to the supermarket, to the store, whatever the case may be. And these senseless shootings will just occur, and a bullet might just hit you. So that's how serious it is. Um, I really, my heart is really, really close to this, and a plea out there that please, I know we cannot, just to do, for the authorities to do something about this. Now, there is police visibility around Westbury, and the community is complaining that they do not patrol enough. There's
Yeah.
also complaints that some of them know who the perpetrators are, and nothing is happening. So that's just some of the frustrations. Last night I was at Silver Spoon police station. This time around, not to be booked in, but I was there, and there's a whole lot of crosses. I wish I could actually take you there. I actually wish I could drive up and we do the podcast from there, where there's a whole lot of crosses in memory and as a symbol of the lives that has been lost in Eldorado Park. I counted over 17, over 20 crosses of real lives which has been taken for kids as young as 16, 18. I'm talking 21
Is
years, and
just
it was
this,
mm,
and
PHA.
that's all young men that got shot.
Young men who has been shot and killed, and not so long ago at the same police station in Eldorado Park, and the media was there as well, where the community actually carried a coffin, whether enough is enough. So to say this is real, this is how real it is. How long are we going to have to do this and bury our kids? We are not safe. We don't feel safe in our communities anymore. So I take that very seriously, and
Mhm.
I would do anything in my power to influence a change for IF kids as well. And yeah,
Sure.
so that is my colorful story around that. Be to KZN, Cape Town, whilst
Yeah,
Durban, yeah, KZN, Cape Town, Joburg, mostly our communities. It is extremely, extremely becoming dangerous to live in your own area. So yeah,
Reggie,
that's my 2 cents, 5 cents worth.
this is something that seems to escalate over the festive season. I don't know if you'll agree
Oh
with me on that.
yes, we
As soon
spoke
as
about
festive
that.
season, there's
Yes,
just
over.
more.
You're so right when you do say that, and we actually had that conversation on how I keep on talking about this. It's so sad. On Sunday, I
Mm-hmm.
attended a burial of a businessman in Rege Park, a businessman from Rege Park. I know him as a client. He was one of the first people to bring me to Rege Park for a gig. That's how we met, been business associates from then.
Yeah.
Um, he was hosting, he had his own place, and he was shot and killed as he was closing his store 2 weeks ago, Monday night. Very influential person in the industry. And that's what happens. And he was shot and killed. And we were talking about exactly this. Why is it always from November at this
Mm.
time of the year it seems to be escalating, and it happens. I don't know if there's an English word for bubbers. No, bubbers. Yeah, bubbers irritate van ja, because you don't know what's gonna happen, but you cannot stop living your life. You have to
Yeah.
go. But you're right. This time of the year,
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very prevalent in our communities.
Let me just not suggest that it's alcohol related only, but alcohol, drugs, and obviously it's a revenge as well. But let's just touch on alcoholism. What have you seen and experienced? Because obviously this time of the year also people do drink more, and not
Yes,
only that
yes,
lead to fight, car accidents
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
So
sure.
alcohol in colored communities, should bottle stores be banned from colored communities?
I would not say that. I think that will create an uproar. There will be state of emergency. No, I'm joking. But yeah, alcohol abuse is a serious problem in our communities. But the topic that we're having right now, what we're talking about today, I'm not going to shy away that it's a combination of both. But the most common denominator is drugs. I mean, most of the people who are being killed, you'll hear the same story. Somebody was selling drugs in their territory, and
Yeah.
they had to react. So I have to say, as much as alcohol has its effect domestically, lots of domestic violence
Mm.
and that. But I'd like to stress out a little friend here. I'd like to stress out. So yeah, I would like to stress out that drugs seems to be the most biggest common denominator. Young boys are being used to sell drugs, and young boys are getting killed if they found selling drugs at a corner which is not allocated to them. And that is the story. We see it in movies. I mean, we see it in proud South African productions, that's the real story. And not
Mm.
shying away from the alcohol, because a combination of both. Can you imagine what impact that can have? Combination of alcohol
For
plus
sure.
drugs. Yeah.
Yo, no, it's devastating, man, and this has been happening for decades. I mean, I'm sure
Yes,
you
yes. Vicious
attest to that,
circle. Mm.
and it's getting
Yeah.
worse, worse. So
It's getting
sad.
worse. And the sad thing, Shahid, is our victims are becoming younger and younger. I heard at the same funeral which I attended in Draper Park, and as we were talking at the memorials after the memorial service, a lady was saying to me that she saw a kid as young as 13
Mm.
brandishing a gun and a rifle, for that matter. Our victims are becoming younger. There is a serious concern in our society. Perhaps we don't have enough role models. Um, Perhaps we have too many dysfunctional families and linked to, as you said, alcohol abuse, which could be one of those. And in some households, there's consumption of alcohol as well as drugs, and parents are taking part with their kids. That is the reality of that. How can you expect a kid to function normally in society? Because charity begins at home. How can
Mm.
that kid function normally in society if things are not functioning at home?
Yeah.
We could maybe blame a lot of things, a lot of factors. Unemployment, we keep on seeing this on. That's the reality.
Mm.
There are not enough jobs, and it's not an excuse uh, for things to happen as they are happening right now. But yeah, job creation, people don't have jobs. Sometimes I just roam around or drive around and I see how many people are unemployed. It is a reality. Some people resort to drugs. Others resort to selling drugs in order
Mm.
to make a living. Um, People resort into selling illegal alcohol. I don't know if you've seen. There's so much alcohol out there that's not legit. I don't know where. And yeah, so people are resorting to alternative means to make a living. And
Yeah.
I must say, unemployment is really, really a big factor in South Africa.
You're touching on quite a few social ills,
Mm.
unemployment, homes with fathers, without mothers, with
Yes.
alcoholic parents, or parents on
Uh-huh.
drugs. But before
Yes.
I ask you more about that, you spoke about SAPs earlier and that they are not visible enough.
Mm-hmm.
King James a few years ago called on the president, and there was a strong police presence in Aldos for
Mm-hmm.
about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Why this not be done throughout the year?
Throughout the year. That is one of the frustrations the communities are having, and they're saying exactly what you're saying. When
Mm,
then President Jacob Zuma came to Eldorado Park, I was there. I
mm,
attended it with the King James, who read out the letter, which actually brought Jacob Zuma to Eldorado Park. There was
yes.
really a strong sense of police visibility. After that, there was efficient raids, and then all of a sudden, just after a while, all of that stops. And it is not only in Eldorado Park,
Mm,
same as in Westbury. There was a time General Begitele was in Westbury as well. Uh, there was a lot of promises. And well, I must say, after that, there was strong police visibility. They were patrolling the area, but same story. And then after a while, it all just uh, disappears. Whereas you
yeah.
say there should be 24/7. I mean, our police and are aware of the high risk areas. And it's simple math. And I don't think I need to be a police commissioner to figure this out. In a more high risk area, I will have more police visibility and
Yeah.
and yeah, and patrol more, especially at night, where most of these things occur. So yeah.
Um, yeah, look, our government steps up and then they step down. Um, so, what can the community do? You were part of the march. What do you
Hmm.
think parents like you, uh, elderly community leaders, and the young people as well, what do you think they
Yeah.
should during this
Maybe,
festive season?
yeah. During this festive season, I think for some, what we as parents should do, first thing, we should stand together. For some, this is in my opinion, it's not a fact, but I get a feeling that we have a lack as communities to stand together for one cause and the same cause.
Mm,
And not only when it hits our doorstep. So if we can stand together, if we can have more social workers developing from our communities to go into these homes, unfunctional homes, get those kids out, and 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 get them give them a better option, then at least part of the problem is sorted out. Because I think when you start with a kid, that's the root right there. So if
yeah,
the kid is okay, then everything else should be fine. So we should stand together. We should get personally involved again. No,
yeah,
we have to get that personal contact as
no,
a community.
yeah,
We should start praying together because I believe that prayer helps.
mm,
As much as it sounds very cliched, I think we should start praying together as community members and not wait only on the government or the police force to do something about it, and see what we can do within our own capacity. How can religious institutions get involved and and see how they can assist? And we should stop complaining. What we must not do, which I
mm,
think is happening in a lot of communities, is taking the law into our own hands, mob
mm,
justice. Because psychologically, if you know the phrase, the hurtful phrase,
yeah,
a lot of people always have that, and enough is enough, enough is enough. And it could make you do irresponsible things out of frustration that security forces, police are not doing anything. And I'm not going to let this person get into my house and do something to my family and my kids. So let's all, as a community, sort it out here and now. that is what I suggest we don't do as a community.
Sure.
And as
Reggie, it's
people.
interesting that you brought up the churches, hanging
Yes.
out in Aldo's a good couple of years ago, and a friend of
Yes.
mine that
When
there,
elders. When elders.
and he's seven.
And he's 7. Yeah, that's how you say it. Not in extension 7, and he's
Yeah,
7. There's no other way to say that.
so you can work Blomen elders.
Yeah, it's got Plomini 7.
Extension seven.
Yeah, they're cool. Not extension 7. And it's not extension. So when you ask somebody, sorry, where do you live? You don't say I live in the 3. Ek bly in die 3. Yeah, they're cool. Yes, you were saying.
Reggie, so you just touched on the churches. There are so many churches in Eldorado Park, and there's
Yes.
mosques. So yeah, what
Yeah.
I don't know how involved you are with a church or churches, but shouldn't stepping up more to correct the wrongs of our society?
Oh, yes, you're right. And you have to give credit where it's due. A church in Eldorado Park, which is doing great work, getting involved in the communities, going into the affected areas, having rallies, prayer meetings, and service ministries. One of the biggest churches in Eldorado Park. So just that, not being afraid to go into the areas and having and preaching good news and giving people hope and giving us the option and giving them the reality of what the consequences may be if they do choose an alternative life. That to me is a good start. That is happening. I'm seeing it's happening in Eldorado Park. You just mentioned there are a lot of mosques in Elders as well, Extension 3, as you know. I think religious leaders, irrespective of your faith, should come together. I hope you're hearing me. I'm talking Christian faith, talking Muslim faith, coming together for one cause and to pray and for a better country and for peace. And I think that will help. If we can have more of that, I'll be a very colorfully happy father.
No, Reggie, that's yeah, the unity is a strong message coming out
Unity, that's the word.
From our conversation here. And yeah, man, I just want to say, when it comes to role models, obviously there are role models. I would say you
Yes.
are one of them. What would be your message or request from those that are actors, actresses, they're in production, they're on radio like you, and just the big business that we don't know about, the academics? They are. Aldo's does have that. Westbury does have that.
Yes,
So
of course,
please
absolutely.
Call them out. Roep hulle
All
uit.
right. Ja, nee, ek hoor wat jy sê. Okay, laat ek eers myself uitroep, begin by die huis. I'm willing to do this as an active member from Eldorado Park. Went to school in Eldorado Park. I know Eldorado Park, and like you say, they are very extremely influential people from all communities, and you are so right. If we all can come together, we cannot change the world, but I'm sure we can influence. How are we going to do that? It's still something to think about, but I think putting the first foot forward, just to say, let's stand together and let's do something about this.
Lekker.
Ek gaan nog nie name noem nie because it's baie name. It's a lot of names. It's too many colorful names.
Next time,
I might just forget one or two. And I'm like, after the podcast, I forgot to mention. Yeah. But yeah, I must say, also give credit to those who are already taking a step. There are some people in our communities that's coming to the party, attending these rallies, some of the meetings, these very important conversations that we are having around this. So I've seen 1, 2, or 3 faces coming through, and I'd like to say salute. See, when I wear my beret, it's freedom. It's time for freedom and peace and unity.
No, really, on that note, thank you very much for your time and for adding your perspective to this. And I hope
Yes.
our people, your people see you and they take what you said, into consideration, because we need more people like you to speak up and to speak out against the isms, the scourge in our colored communities.
Yes.
And with that, I'm Shahied Joseph for Living in Color. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry, man. Sorry,
Reggie,
Shahied. Hey, I'm always so forward. Just before you go, because when you speak, I hear pertinent things you're saying. That when you
yes.
stand together, and it takes me back. Remember at the beginning of the podcast, I said that I love for music. As you said
Yeah.
that, a song by Paul McCartney, based on them, and came to my mind. You know the song, "Win or lose, sink or swim. One thing is certain, we'll never give in. Side by side, hand in hand, we all stand together."
I was actually going to ask you, Reggie, what song comes to mind? And there, you just brought it out. Yes, yes, good song. Dais mas meripadas. Yeah.
My granddaughter loves that song and video.
Yeah, that's a very old song. We must actually look into it and maybe add it to this podcast.
You are officially couple because you even know songs older than you.